All right, welcome to 1000 PS TV. I'm NoPain, and today I've got the great honor of presenting a very special comparison for you. The legendary Ducati X Diavel 1260 V2 meets the brand new X Diavel with the V4 Gran Turismo engine. One name, two worlds, and plenty to talk about. So let's get going. A warm welcome to all our 1000 PS viewers from beautiful southern France, where the new X Diavel V4 was officially presented to the press just recently. My colleague Pokey was already here before me and has made a great video with all the technical details and his first riding impressions. You'll find the link to that down in the video description. Still, Ducati Austria sent me along as well to get a proper feel for the new V4 Devil, because as some of you might already know, I'm a die-hard fanboy, and I've been riding the X Diavel 1260 with the classic V2 for more than 9 years now. So how did I actually end up buying the X Diavel back in 2016? Well, here's how. After a serious accident, I spent several months in hospital with busted legs and loads of time to think and browse the internet. And when I randomly came across this brand new deep black power cruiser from Bologna on the 1000 PS homepage, I knew straight away, when I get discharged, I'm treating myself to something decent. My first Ducati. So I rang up the dealer and ordered it blind. My family was thrilled. Almost as thrilled were the two policemen who caught me just a few months later, right after picking up the bike, flying straight into their speed trap with 5 kilometers on the clock. To this day, though, I've managed to get by with relatively few traffic offenses. It seems I mostly glide under the radar of the law with the Black Devil. Despite a few minor setbacks, a real passion has grown over the years. After countless sets of tires, brake pads, 2 side stands, a necessary suspension upgrade, regular cylinder head gasket replacements, various timing belts, new front discs, and upgraded rear brake lines, I'm now just short of hitting 50,000 kilometers. At this point, though, I should say, I genuinely got one of the very first bikes off the line, and I had to go through every single recall. But by the 2018 model year at the latest, the Italians had the V2 model properly under control. The suspension worked for most weight categories, the side stand held firm, the cylinders stayed sealed, and even after winter, the rear brake still did its job. Only the belt drive kept causing headaches. Of course, depending on how you ride or how many kilometers you've clocked. Looking back, even the Italians would probably admit that while the low-maintenance belt was a nice idea in theory, the shock absorbers, the pulley, the flange, and the belt itself just couldn't cope with the relentless punch of the V2 engine in the long run. And now, nearly 10 years later, the classic X Diavel, which over time picked up a few different names like 1260, Model S, Dark, Black Star, or Nera, well, that bike has now made way for the new X Diavel V4. Personally, I've got mixed feelings about this generational change, a bit of a smile and a bit of a tear. But after today's extensive test ride here in southern France, I'm feeling pretty confident that the new X Diavel V4 will win over its owners just the same. Before diving into the differences between the two bikes, let's maybe take a look at what they've still got in common. First off, the name X Diavel. The X still stands for the crossover between cruiser lifestyle and super sport performance and tech. Second, the relaxed riding position with the forward-mounted foot pegs. And third, the distinctive exhaust and the single-sided swing arm with the massive 240 rear tire. So far, so good. But the changes, those are quite something. Let's start with the engine and drivetrain. Instead of the old V2 engine, the bike now comes with the Gran Turismo V4 from the Diavel V4 with a displacement of 1,158 cubic centimeters. Bottom line, The engine now delivers 168 horsepower, which is 8 more than before, with torque holding steady at 126 Newton meters. That said, peak torque now only comes in at 7,500 RPM, whereas with the V2, you were already hitting max torque at 5,000 RPM, and you can definitely feel that. The old one had more low-end punch, no doubt, but when it comes to engine smoothness and everyday usability, everything has been turned on its head. The V4 Gran Turismo doesn't just offer relentless power from the mid-range upwards, it also delivers a beautifully linear torque curve, balanced gearing, and an overall much smoother engine feel. I also really like the reduced heat when riding slowly or sitting in traffic. That's thanks to the clever cylinder deactivation system, which I've been wanting for a long time. With my V2, your crown jewels regularly end up roasting in city traffic, and the temperature gauge would slowly creep up to 115 degrees at summer traffic lights. Not exactly ideal for seals and the like. Another real plus point is the deeper, more aggressive exhaust note of the new X Diavel, even with Euro 5 plus compliance. It's also great that they fitted a big 20-liter tank because the V4 gulps down 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers, a full liter more than the V2. In the end, the troublesome belt drive has been swapped out for a classic chain, and valve clearance checks, just like with the Multistrada V4, are only needed after 60,000 kilometers. That means fewer trips to the workshop, more riding time, and savings to boot. But it's not just the engine. The chassis has been completely overhauled too. A new, admittedly somewhat bulky-looking aluminium frame replaces the beautiful old trellis frame. But this change, combined with a fully adjustable suspension with more rear travel, a handlebar that's mounted lower and closer to the rider, and a revised seating position, brings noticeably more comfort and control when riding. The seat height has gone up slightly to 770 millimeters, but you still feel totally integrated into the beefy bike and often get the sense that the world ought to turn in the direction you're riding. Looks like the Italians nailed the geometry too. Yes, the wheelbase has grown by a few millimeters, but thanks to a 1 degree steeper steering head angle, trail has been reduced, making the new X Diavel V4 even more agile in corners without losing stability. And the 6 kilograms shaved off compared to the 1260S clearly help its agility too. In short, the V4 is even more responsive and easily wipes the floor with direct rivals like the Triumph Rocket or the Harley-Davidson Sportster. Braking was never an issue on the 1260, and that hasn't changed on the V4 either. In fact, despite the lower weight, the Italians have fitted even larger 330mm twin discs up front with Brembo Stylomer 4-piston calipers and radial pumps. Unsurprisingly, braking is spot on, but comfort and riding position have also been improved. The mighty single-sided swing arm is now paired with a fully adjustable monoshock offering 35mm more travel. And that makes a big difference compared to the old, often overwhelmed shorter shock. Manhole covers are no longer your worst enemy, and your spine will thank you. The seat itself has also been padded with several extra centimeters, making long rides much less daunting. Passenger ergonomics have improved too. The pillion seat is now wider, half as long again, and also much better padded. There's even a grab handle included as standard, though it's optional to fit, which means your passenger won't go flying off the back after an enthusiastic traffic light launch. Naturally, the X Diavel V4 stays true to its cruiser roots, offering a relaxed forward foot peg position. But for anyone who prefers a sportier feel, there's an accessory kit that lets you shift the pegs further back. I didn't get to test the mid-mounted pegs myself, but I'd strongly recommend either a test ride or at least a proper consultation before going for that mod. Because in the past, fitting the mid-mounted foot pegs to the X Diavel often meant sacrificing comfort and handling, issues you couldn't easily fix even with riser kits or padded seats. As for the electronics, the old X Diavel 1260 was already well equipped, but in true Ducati style, the V4 takes things up a notch. It now includes the latest Evio versions of cornering ABS and traction control and a brilliant 6.9-inch TFT display. A real highlight is the Ducati Quickshifter 2.0, straight out of the current Panigale V4, and yes, it includes the blipper. On the old model, you couldn't even retrofit a Quickshifter via Ducati's official accessories. There's also Ducati wheelie control, though, let's be honest, most of us probably won't ever need that. So, what's my verdict on the X Diavel V4? Ducati's engineers have really put in the work to build a worthy successor to the legendary X Diavel 1260 around the ferocious V4 engine. The new one impresses with its muscular looks from tail to tank and adds a futuristic touch with its newly designed LED lights. I also think the cast aluminium wheels are some of the best looking ever fitted to a Diavel. That said, more tech always means more wires, hoses, and covers. And let's be honest, those are rarely a visual treat. Despite all the attention to detail and the two stunning paint jobs, burning red and lava black, I don't think the new V4 quite matches the timeless elegance of the predecessor. But in terms of comfort, handling, stability, acceleration, everyday usability, and safety, the new bike has taken a big leap forward. And honestly, all things considered, the V4 is the better bike. You've got to ask yourself, do you want to just look at the thing all day, or do you actually want to ride it properly? Whether you're cruising along or launching from 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds, the V4 is a revelation. As for me, I'll be sticking with my V2 for now, either until it falls apart or until I bin it. But I'm fairly certain that someday a V4 will end up in my garage too. Although, with the Austrian list price, that really does give you pause. We're talking 36,995 euros thanks to the Nova tax. That's about 8,000 euros more than in Germany. Makes you almost want to quit your job, get divorced, and move across the border. Right, that's it from me. Thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and leave a quick comment to help out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you've got any more questions about the new or old Diavel, drop them below. I check in regularly and will answer everything. Stay safe, take care, see you next time.